Well, the thing I liked the most about the trip was that we stayed competitive the whole week, and we really, despite the fact that we had lost some close games and maybe some games we could have won early in the week, that we were still competitive and won some big games towards the end. I mean, beating Florida Gulf Coast was a big win for us. I mean, they'd won 9 in a row, and I think they were 22-4, and we played really well then. So I think as the week went on, we got better with our competitiveness and our toughness, which was important. And then now going into the conference, that's going to be important for us. The one thing about the spring trip too is that you don't have time to practice. So one game really flips into the next game, and if you're not, our players aren't mentally tough to forget about the game on Tuesday, and a little of it affects into Wednesday. That's what you expect's going to happen when you practice inside and then you go outside and then you come back inside and go outside. You're going to have inconsistencies. So the fact that towards the end of the trip we were more consistent, and I mean, we're trying to also give people some opportunities to play to make sure that when we get into conference we have the right group and the right setup that we need to have in order to win in conference. So the other thing I think that a lot of people don't look at is that you're trying a lot of different combinations to find out what's the best one when you get into your conference, because when it's time to play in the conference, you don't have time to try to figure out, well, can she do this or can she not do this and so forth. So you approach some games a little differently, but certainly now after having played 13 games there and 23 overall, we're pretty set on our rotation and how we think guys need to play and so forth. We'll have some minimal changes, but we think we're pretty set on what we need to do to win in our conference. I think the other thing that a lot of people don't see or you even realize is that we're trying to get more consistent on pitch location. Like instead of putting the ball in the outside corner, we want it 2 balls outside or 1 ball outside. And so trying to get that consistency in a game situation is what we're trying to do. So when we get to the conference, we can get a screwball 1 ball off the plate or a curveball 1 ball off the plate. So it's a little more bit of fine-tuning things. But the way Annie pitched, I mean, Annie was, when she pitched against Florida A&M, she threw 130 pitches, 100 of them were strikes. So with her, obviously, she's not going to walk a lot of people. We got to play defense. Kylie O'Donnell was phenomenal against Florida Gulf Coast. I mean, she really pitched well. So yes, I don't want to walk as many people, because the thing that ends up happening is you could walk 2 and give up 1 hit, and all of a sudden you've given up 2 runs. And so we talk to the girls about that a lot, but it's also just trying to get consistent with pitch location. And I think as the week went on, we were better at that. So hopefully going into the conference tournament, the conference play, and with the practice that we have coming up, we'll just be better at it. I think the big thing for us, to be honest with you, is that we have to get a little more consistent offensively. You talk about we walked too many or we had some errors. We left a lot of people on base, and I think we've got to get into a situation where we're a little more confident with people in scoring position. And you've got to, in order to win, you got to hit with people in scoring position, and then we got to be a little bit better with 2 outs. And I think it's a product of you struggle, I struggle, then other people try harder than they need to because they see you're struggling, and everybody tries way too much. And our message at the end of the trip, and it will be going forward, is just do your job. And again, you hate to have coach speak, but it's like your job is to just do your job. Don't worry about somebody else. Don't worry about someone behind you. Just do what you have to do to have the best possible at-bat. So we're trying to get more consistent offensively. I'd say out of everything in the trip that frustrated me, that probably frustrated me the most, is that we were really inconsistent offensively, and that needs to get better, but I think that we'll be in a good place after a couple of weeks of practice going into the conference to be able to do that. And then the other thing that a lot of people don't see is we're facing pitching that we're probably not going to see in our conference. The pitching that we see every single game that we played was good. And not that it isn't good in our conference, but it's not at that level. So you get yourself prepared, and then the pitching that you're going to face isn't quite as good. So you hope that everything's going to change when you get back to conference play.